everyone. Today we are going to discuss one of the foundational elements of research methodology, the concept and purpose of a hypothesis. By the end of this session, you should clearly understand what a hypothesis is, why it is used, and how it guides the research process. Let's begin with a simple question. What is a hypothesis? In everyday language, we often use the word to mean a guess or assumption, but in research it is much more structured. A hypothesis is a tentative, testable statement about the relationship between two or more variables. It is a proposition that a researcher formulates based on observation, prior studies, theory, or logical reasoning, and then tests through data collection and analysis. Think of it as a bridge between theory and empirical investigation. When we develop a hypothesis, we are basically saying, I believe that X affects Y in this particular way, and I will test it to see if it's true. For example, consider the observation that students who regularly revise their notes perform better in exams. A researcher may form the hypothesis students who revise daily will score higher than students who revise only before exams. This hypothesis not only suggests a relationship but also gives a direction to test. Now let's break the definition down. Tentative, meaning it is not a proven fact but an assumption that needs verification. Testable, if a statement cannot be tested through data or observation, it cannot be considered a scientific hypothesis. Predictive, a hypothesis predicts an outcome or relationship based on evidence or theory. It must stem from logical reasoning or previous knowledge. So, in essence, a hypothesis gives shape and direction to research. Moving ahead, why do we need a hypothesis in research? Let us explore the purpose of hypothesis and why it is so crucial. Firstly, a hypothesis provides clarity and focus. Without it, research can become vague and directionless. Imagine trying to solve a puzzle without knowing what picture you are trying to form. A hypothesis acts like the picture on the puzzle box, a guiding image that helps us piece our research together. Secondly, a hypothesis determines what data needs to be collected. If we hypothesize that social media usage affects students' concentration, we know that we need data on social media habits and concentration levels. The hypothesis helps us decide the type of variables, measurement approach, tools, sampling, and analysis methods. Third, a hypothesis helps the researcher test theories. In many disciplines, theories guide hypothesis, and hypotheses help verify or refine theories. For example, in psychology, a theory might suggest that rewards improve performance. A hypothesis could be framed as employees who receive performance-based incentives will show higher productivity than those who don't. Testing this hypothesis will help support, modify, or reject the underlying theory. Fourth, hypotheses are essential for prediction. A good hypothesis gives us an expected outcome. This predictive nature is what makes research scientific, measurable, and structured. When we propose a hypothesis, we are implicitly predicting the result. Fifth, a hypothesis helps in interpreting results. Once data is collected, we compare findings with the hypothesis. Was it supported? Was it rejected? Or was the result inconclusive? This comparison provides meaning to data rather than leaving it as a mere collection of numbers. Now let us deepen our understanding with an analogy. Think of research like a journey. The research topic is your destination, your methodology is the route, your variables are your travel companions, and the hypothesis is like your map. It tells you where to go, what to look for, and how to know if you have reached your destination. Without a map, you may wander aimlessly. You might even gather interesting information along the way, but you won't be sure how it all fits together. A hypothesis gives direction, structure, and purpose to the journey of inquiry. Let's discuss a few examples for clarity. In biology, a hypothesis may be framed as increasing sunlight exposure enhances the growth rate of tomato plants. The hypothesis suggests a cause and effect relationship and can be tested experimentally. In business research, a hypothesis may state higher customer satisfaction leads to increased customer loyalty. This can be tested using surveys and statistical analysis. In education, use of interactive teaching methods improves student engagement in classrooms. In social sciences, social media usage for more than 3 hours a day increases anxiety levels among teenagers. Each of these statements is specific, measurable, and testable, which makes them a good hypothesis. Types of hypothesis. Although our focus today is the definition and purpose, it's helpful to know that hypothesis also comes in forms such as null hypothesis, which states that no relationship or no difference exists, alternative hypothesis, which claims that a relationship or difference does exist. For example, a null hypothesis may state there is no difference in performance between students who revise daily and those who don't, while the alternate hypothesis will state students who revise daily perform better. The null hypothesis is usually what we test statistically to either reject or fail to reject. The alternative hypothesis represents the researcher's belief. We will explore the types in detail another time, but knowing their existence helps you understand where hypothesis fits into research decision making. Coming back, why is hypothesis important to scientific inquiry? Because it transforms a broad research problem into a clear, focused investigation. It reduces uncertainty, it provides boundaries, what to test, what not to test. It helps build a logical research design. The entire research process, literature review, methodology, data collection, analysis, and interpretation revolves around the hypothesis. If research is the body, hypothesis is the backbone. Let us reflect on a scenario. Suppose you want to research whether digital learning platforms are effective. Without a hypothesis, you may collect data about everything: students' gadget usage, teacher training, internet speed, student grades, and whatnot. But with a hypothesis, like students using digital platforms achieve higher learning outcomes compared to traditional chalk and talk methods, your research becomes targeted. You focus on measurable outcomes. You compare one method with another. So the hypothesis saves time, effort, and cost. Summarizing our discussion, a hypothesis is a tentative, testable statement about the expected relationship between variables. It is derived from observation, theory, or prior research. It provides direction and focus to the study. It helps identify variables, measurement tools, and expected outcomes. It forms the basis for data analysis, interpretation, and conclusion. It is essential for scientific, structured, and evidence-based research. Before I conclude, let me stress one point. A hypothesis is not rigid. It may evolve as the researcher gains insight. Sometimes, after reviewing the literature or conducting preliminary studies, you may refine or even change your hypothesis. This is not a failure. It is a natural part of scientific inquiry. So to wrap up, the hypothesis is like a compass guiding the researcher in the vast sea of knowledge. It helps transform curiosity and questions into structured investigation. Understanding how to frame a strong hypothesis is the first step in conducting meaningful and impactful research. Before we delve deeper into the framing and testing of hypotheses, in our next session, we will learn about the types of variables. Thank you so much for being with me today.